Hey, Shad here with Speed Addicts, the fastest growing gear site on the web. In today's video, we're gonna uncrate the all new LS2 Advant II. What's up, Speed Addicts fam? We are very excited to show you a new model from the folks at LS2. It is the Advant II, a new addition to the very successful Advant modular helmet line. Before we do that though, we got a few things to tell you about. First off, subscribe to the Speed Addicts channel. That way you are the first to get all of our gear reviews, our buying guides, our Versus series, and some exciting new shootouts coming later this year. Make sure you subscribe, that way you don't miss out. Also, if you're gonna shop for gear online, we really appreciate your business over at speedaddicts.com, where the Advant II will ship fast free with the industry's best return policy. There's a link in the description below that'll take you over to the complete selection of LS2 helmets, including the new Advant II that we're talking about in today's video here. And then finally, if you like to shop in person and you are in Southern California, come on by the first Speed Addicts Superstore. You will not be disappointed. We have the world's greatest helmet wall, complete selection of gear from head to toe. Come on by in the city of Orange and see the first Speed Addicts Superstore. Okay, here we have it. It is the Advant II. So just to give you the lay of the land for the LS2 Advant series, we brought a few of the other Advents out here in the studio today. So on my right, this is the Advant I. This one will be going away, okay? The Advant I was released at the same time as the Advant X. The Advant I was not very successful, and we're gonna explain why that was later, whereas the Advant X, their top line Advent, was ridiculously successful. And we'll also go into why that was later. So they're trying to improve on the Advant I and come out with the Advant II, which still sits below the Advant X, which is like their top end modular. And the Advant II is going to be less expensive than the Advant X and a big improvement over the Advant I, which is over here, okay? Are you confused yet? Don't worry, we're gonna go in the full breakdown on the Advant II today. So first off, the price tag for the Advant II will come in at $399 for the solid colors. There are several solid colors. We're looking at the matte black today. And then they're going to release one graphic. There might be additional graphics in the future. The graphic designs are going to be $419, so only a $20 upgrade for the graphics. So how does that compare to the very popular Advant X? Well, this is going to be $100 less at the moment compared to the Advant X composite shell, solid colors. The Advant X is sitting at $499 at the moment for those solids. The Advant X Carbon is, I believe, $650 at the moment, okay? So that's the carbon fiber version. Here we're gonna have a polycarbonate shell, their Kinetic Polymer Alloy, which is what helps keep the price down as opposed to the carbon fiber and the composite designs on the X. It is the same shell construction as the original Advant I, okay? So that is kind of the pricing lay of the land. That shell construction, their Kinetic Polymer Alloy, is their proprietary polycarbonate or plastic material, and the thing that makes it special is they actually dissolve aramid fibers into that plastic and then injection mold that, and that gives them some of the best properties of a composite helmet, which is made of aramid fibers and polycarbonate, okay? Improved puncture protection while maintaining a nice low coefficient of friction in case of a slide. Okay, so plastic helmets tend to slide better than fiber helmets. And it allows them to fine-tune the rigidity of the shell. So it is made using their KPA. That is a proprietary LS2 situation. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way, producer Matt. It's all reverse on camera. Let's put these two. So again, Advant I, new Advant II, going away. This is what we're talking about today. In terms of the weight, these two have a similar weight, and they are right around 4 pounds 3 ounces on our scales. You don't always believe everything you read on the internet. We actually weigh things here. So 4 pounds 3 ounces. How's that compared to the Advant X, which is a composite or carbon fiber helmet? It is about 5 ounces lighter, which is about a quarter pound, a third of a pound, okay? And so that doesn't sound like a ton, but really on a longer ride, it could add up, or if you have any sort of neck issues, you're looking for the lightest helmet possible, the Advant X is still gonna win there at 3 pounds, 13 ounces, okay? So about 5 ounces, 5 to 6 ounces less than the Advant II. The Advant II is DOT and ECE 2206 certified P and J. And the P and J part is designating that it was tested in both the open face configuration, crash tested like this, and crash tested as a full face helmet, okay? And it passed in both configurations. That's when you're gonna see the P and J. So DOT for the United States, ECE 2206 is the latest safety standard out of Europe, and a lot of manufacturers here are now promoting that their helmets both pass the US test and the European test, and that is pushing the manufacturers to provide you a safer product. And it doesn't just apply to the helmet itself, it actually covers the face shields, and they do really thorough testing on their face shields there. Okay, so in terms of the fit and the shape internally of the helmet, how it's gonna sit and fit on your head, the good news is that it fits just like the rest of the Advent series, so you won't be surprised. If you tried one of the other Advents on before, you own one of them, you can rest assured that this is gonna fit you very much in the same way. They have the same interior intermediate oval head shape, which fits most heads here well in the United States, and they're using 3 shell sizes to make up the entire size range from extra small all the way up to 3 extra large. One note on the fit, and this is on all the Advents, is that they have pretty prodigious cheek pads here. They are quite thick out of the box, but I assure you they do relax over time. So you want the helmet to fit you tight as possible without causing pain or discomfort. Try it on in your living room. Remember, when it comes to returns, Speed Addicts has your back, makes it real easy to get a different size. But what we're looking for is the tightest possible in the living room test. And keep in mind that these pads, this low density foam in your cheek pads and the rest of the comfort liner, it's gonna pack out pretty well. And the helmet's probably gonna fit about 10 to 15% looser than it does when it first shows up at your home or you try it on in the store. So extra small through 3 extra large. So what did they improve over the Advent 1.0 when they went to the 2? So the primary thing that made the Advent 1 not sell very well, despite it being a good helmet, is the look. Okay, so they actually absolutely botched a few things about this Advent 1, in my humble opinion. Aesthetics are highly subjective, but this top vent was pretty hideous, and so was the chin bar. So this thing just looked kind of RoboCop. It just looked bad, right? So aesthetically, it was not as pleasing as the very successful X. Advent X was way more aggressive looking. This was kind of bulbous and awkward with the vent placements and the vent design and that whole design of the chin bar, okay? So for that reason and a few others that we'll go into in a minute, the Advent X was like the clear choice over the Advent 1. Now, they have improved the look significantly with the new Advent 2 that we're talking about in today's video. You'll notice completely redesigned top vent that looks way better on this matte black. They're gonna give you the accents with the carbon fiber, but it's just more sleek, it's more aesthetically pleasing. And then the chin bar is much more like a strong, aggressive looking chin bar compared to this kind of techie, anime looking chin bar that kind of jetted out here and just wasn't very good looking. So they improved the overall look. Let's take a look at the back. They gave you some more of those design accents like that the X has, that kind of swooping, angular, more dramatic shape to the rear of it instead of just having it completely rounded off and kind of boring in the back, okay? So aesthetically, that was one of the big upgrades. Now, how does it compare to the X? When we put the 2 next to the X, it's a little less dramatic, and some folks might want that. So, you know, some people who look at the X think it's a little bit too much for them, a little bit too stealth bombery. They want a little less going on with their helmet. I feel like the Advent 2 is gonna be a good compromise. Still looks good, still looks aggressive, but not quite so much going on. Let's check out the ventilation. So we got that top vent with the carbon fiber accent on the black back. In the rear, we do have a passive vent underneath your diffuser here. In the chin bar, new redesigned Y-shape chin bar vent, way better than the previous Advent. The main thing in terms of ventilation, because I know we're going to compare it a lot against the X, because I know a lot of you are trying to figure out, is it worth the extra $100 to get into the X? In terms of ventilation, they should be relatively comparable in how much air they're actually flowing. And the nice thing about all the Advents is that the chin bar, you know, this is a modular helmet. I'm kind of bearing the lead here. Gets completely out of your way so that you can ride it in an open face configuration. And that, after all, is why most people were picking the Advent series compared to a traditional modular where that chin bar stops at 90 degrees and it is awkward weight up there and it drags the air and all that sort of stuff. So we want to get the chin bar out of the way so that we can ride with it, the chin bar in the open position, get more airflow, okay? So when it comes to ventilation, you're always going to be able to, like when traffic slows down, you don't want the full chin bar protection, you want more airflow, you can do that. So in terms of airflow, they're going to be pretty comparable. The thing about the X where it wins is that the rear ventilation is switchable. So if you're going to ride in cold weather, you will be able to shut down that rear vent on the Advent X, whereas the Advent II, you are stuck with the rear vent open. In terms of the face shield, it is similar but not completely the same to the X. You're going to notice if you step up to the X, you're going to get a little bit more viewport here. It dives a little lower, a little bit more visibility, and then it's just a little bit sturdier. So now with the new Advent II, they do have a press to release down here in the center. The one awkward thing about the Advent X is that it doesn't have a lock, it has a pull, and it is located on the top center of the face shield. It's not a problem, it's just something to get used to. In terms of how the quality, the overall quality of the face shield, the X is the winner. It is sturdier, it's more robust, it feels like it makes a tighter seal on the helmet, whereas this, while not bad in the Advent II, it's just a little bit lighter weight, a little bit more flexibility, and the seal doesn't feel quite as solid, and this lock is just a little on the lightweight side. So they're finding ways to kind of save some cost and keep the price down. The X started at a price point a lot closer to where this is now, and it has crept up because of tariffs, okay? So the price on the X is kind of bumped up. They're trying to create that separation, offer something to you that won't break the bank. Now, these are not huge issues, but just something to compare. If you spend the extra money, you're going to get a better quality face shield. Now, they both have internal sun visors, and they both include a pin lock insert. The Advent II does include the pin lock insert. When you go with the X, you spend the extra money. Not only do you get the pin lock insert, but you get an additional smoked face shield. So, and you get a carrying bag, carrying backpack case, and a sock, whereas this is just going to come with the sock. So a few little extras when you move up to the X. In terms of the face shield or the internal sun visor, the coverage is good and the action is smooth. Over here, they have improved the mechanism. The old one on the Advent I was a cheaper design that is exposed out here, whereas this one is not as exposed. It's tucked up into this channel and it's just a little smoother action. Good coverage there. So roughly equivalent to the X and the older one when it comes to that internal face shield. Okay, that about does it. Oh, let's talk about the comm system. So on the exterior of the helmet, we do have challenges with the comm system. So the older helmets were meant to use, in terms of comms, if you wanted to go with the integrated solution, they had a Cardo, an LS2 Cardo 4X unit that was meant to install in these. That partnership with Cardo and LS2 is now gone. LS2 is working on a new partnership for integrated comms that will work with the Advent II. There's a pocket back here. I don't have any more details about who the partner is or when it will be released, but there will be an integrated option that will take advantage of that pocket, and then they'll have a smaller control kit or a control button that's going to mount on the exterior. Now, you don't have to wait for that. You can run your own comms in any of these helmets. The placement of the comm is a little bit challenging because there's a lot going on the side. You have the slider for the internal drop-down sun visor, and then you have some of these design elements on the shell itself. So the ideal place is going to be here with an adhesive mount. You will run on top of the seam, but that's okay. We've done that before. Otherwise, you're going to have to go further in the back, which is a little bit awkward. Okay, you have some of the same challenges with the Advent X. We've had pretty good luck with installing them in store right about there with an adhesive mount, and that generally works pretty well. So if you have your own comm, Sena, Cardo, whatever universal comm you want to install on the LS2 Advent II, you are welcome to do so. That pretty much does it for the exterior of the helmet. Let's jump inside of this Advent II. Okay, so you get a nice and improved chin curtain compared to the old Advent I. Let's see how that looks. You get bit more coverage, a little bit more elasticity to that. The whole design of the liner has changed up a little bit. You do now have a little bit more of kind of that vinyl look and stitching. And then compared to the Advent X, there. Advent X kind of has the quilted stitching look, and it does have emergency quick release cheek pads, whereas the Advent II does not have those. Now, this has their Cool Max liner, so is this. It's just a different look to it, so it's still moisture wicking, fast to dry, all that sort of stuff. Thick laser cut cheek pads that contour and form to your face over time. So still great interior package, and like I said before, it's gonna fit a lot like these other two helmets. So if you try them on, you know what's going on. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pull this whole neck roll and liner system out so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, we got a couple snaps around the bottom. We'll just work our way around. They are using their micrometric closure system instead of a traditional D-ring. That's something they're using on all the Advent series. Okay, and it should be noted, this is metal. You'll see some other helmets with these ratchet closures that are polymer or plastic. They're not quite as, they don't inspire quite as much confidence. The micrometric, they've sold a ton of these. We've had nothing but good reviews so far about this system. And then if you want to open it, there's this little magnet to pull that back and then up, and it's going to let you get out. Now, out of the box, if it doesn't fit you quite right, the chin strap, it is adjustable here. You got to kind of fight with this thing to feed it through in either direction to tighten it up or loosen it up, but there is quite a bit of room. There's really not someone that we haven't been able to fit after we adjust it. Let's pull the whole liner enchilada here. Now, there is your laser cut liner. Very nice, high quality system. And I like the cheek pad neck roll all in one piece, really clean. And it does have, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there are pores here that allows it to dry quickly and keep you cool. On the inside, we have their multi-density EPS liner. They've done these call outs now, and their EPS with the red material, that red EPS to call out where the air is coming and going in terms of the airflow pattern. And then down low, we're gonna have a nice large speaker pocket there that'll accommodate your bigger speakers without issue. We'll go ahead and pull the one from the top. So comm system, you choose later on. This door here with these little screws is gonna allow you to put in whatever sort of integrated option you might want to run. Okay, 5-year warranty from LS2. There's the inside of the new Advent II. I think this is gonna do pretty well. You're gonna save $100 over the Advent X, which has been very popular. If you don't care about the weight differential, again, this one is gonna be a little bit heavier. The visor's not quite on the same level as the Advent X, but if you're not someone that really is like riding every day or weekend warrior here or there, maybe you don't care about the weight difference or some of those little tiny tweaks that you have on the Advent X when compared to the new Advent II. It's really nice that they're going to include that pin lock visor and a 5-year warranty, all for the price of $399 at the moment. Now remember, with pricing, that can change over time. If you're watching this for a year from now and the pricing has changed, don't blame us. If you want to see LS2, check out the link in the description below over at speedaddicts.com, or come shop LS2 in person at the Speed Addicts Superstore, where we have an absolutely epic selection of all LS2 products. That's it for today. We'll see you next time to find out what's in the crate.